Hey there friends, Nibs again. Out here at the range today, doing a little bit of goofing around. It is a warm and but breezy day. The breeze feels nice out here. It is just about 90 degrees, or maybe it did hit 90 degrees by now. When I was driving over here, the dashboard of my car said 89 degrees, but it's still a nice day. I'll take this over freezing cold and freezing rain and all that sort of jazz we had going on all winter. So but I have a really cool new scope to show you guys, and I just mounted this up on my, it's an older gun but it's not terribly old, CZ452. This is the ZKM, and it's got the heavy profile barrel. It does have a Boyd's thumb hole stock. Really nice setup. Great trigger on this one. The bolt is open, the mag is empty. I'll give you guys a little flyby on this before we get started. So this is the CVLife, what's that, the Eagleblaze, is that what they call that? The Eagleblaze. And that is a 5 to 25 by 56. It uses 34 millimeter rings. And it's not huge. I've got a couple other scopes that have those parameters, and this one, it is a big scope, but it's just not a mammoth like a couple of those other ones that I've had that had those same statistics. But this one is one of the newest offerings from CVLife. They just sent it over to me a little while ago. I did have it on one of my air guns for a little while, but I really wanted to give it a try on a 22. And I was thinking about doing a couple of challenges, couple of challenge targets today, but with this wind out here, it's on again, off again. Sometimes it's really gusty. I did hook a little camera adapter up to the scope, and I got some pretty nice images, and we'll take a look at those in a couple of minutes. But I really want to do some plinking out here before we get started. We have to get another box of ammo before we start doing some actual target shooting. Oop. I keep forgetting. Some of them release from the front of the mag, some of them release behind the mag. I was just shooting my Anschutz Model 64, and the release on that one's behind the mag, and then I switch over to this one, the release is in front of the mag. So, but so we started off right. I have, and I don't have a camera down there now, so you'll have to take my word for it. I'm not just adding sound effects in behind you guys, but let's go to 50 to my gong first. Let's do that again. That's better. The first one was kind of a glancing blow, kind of weak. All right, so now we're gonna lob a couple out to 100 yards. We've got I believe it's a 10-inch plate. It's actually 117 yards. So let's lob a couple onto the 10-inch plate out at 117 yards. Ooh, I went right over top of it. All right, let's do that again. There it is. All right, one more, and then we'll take a look at some pictures, and then we'll do some real plinking. That's better. Alrighty, so I have my camera here. This is the one I actually took the pictures through the phone, through the scope with. So I did some images at 100, I did some images at 50, and I did some images at 25, because that's the kind of ranges we'll be shooting these 22s at, so I think that's the most important to see. Now this one does have a really nice reticle, and it's not overly thick. It gets pretty small when you're on the lower power settings, but it's not overly thick when you're on the highest power settings. So let's start out at Let's start out at 100. So here is the 6X one at 100 yards. Pretty thin. You may lose that reticle on a dark background, but has an illuminated reticle, which is nice and daylight bright. I didn't capture any pictures of that. Sorry about that. Um, but it's a good visible. Even here, looking at that black background, I never lost that crosshair even at 6X. So now I move it up to 12X, and I'd say in 6X, 5X. Now I'm moving up to 12X, and you can start to really see the Christmas tree start to pop up there. That's a really nice picture. Very crisp image. And you guys know me, I'm not the greatest cameraman in the world, but and then I went up to 25X, and it's starting to look a little hazy with the camera. It's not like that when you're looking through it. Again, I'm not the best through the scope photographer, but it's still a good looking image. Even there, it's just a little hazy, but it's not like that when I look through it at all. So let's go back. Let's see, now we've got 50 yards. I didn't have any targets downrange yet. There was some folks over here doing some shooting while I was setting up and capturing my images, so I didn't want to bother them while I was just goofing around and wasn't shooting. But here's 25X at the 50-yard target. Pretty darn crisp. You can see that reticle does not get gigantic. Does not get gigantic at all. It's nice and light even at 25X. Now I rolled back to 12X. That's a really good usable image right there at 50 yards. Just fantastic. And then real big wide field of view at 5X at 50 yards. But you can see all the way around the outside is just superb. So this is a Chinese made scope. I'm not trying to hide anything there, but they are saying that this is actually Japanese glass in this. So it's got a really nice image. So now I did bring it right into 25 yards, actually looking at these folks that were here so it was a grandfather with his two grandsons. One was a teenager, the other one looked to be maybe just a preteen. But they were shooting an old Winchester or Remington model 41, which was pretty cool. I told them that's the kind of gun I really love to get out here and shoot. So, but here is the 5X at 25 yards. Again, nice, clear all the way around. Just you can see crispness all the way around, all the way edge to edge. And then I dialed it into 12X. Still crisp, right and bright, edge to edge. And then when I got it into 25X at 25 yards, I think the camera was really starting to have a real struggle there. I was able to, the reticle picked up really well, but the camera was having a real tough time, and I couldn't get it to focus in downrange. And again, and I know I keep saying this, but that is not what I see when I look through the scope at that distance, at that target. So, but there you go. That is the pictures for this guy, and I'm going to pause the camera here, and I got to get my downrange camera set up. Hopefully we'll be able to capture. I've got a splatter burst at 50 yards. I've got my gong at 50 yards. And then we have a couple of steel targets at 100 yards, 117 yards. Hopefully we can get some satisfactory patings and a nice group or two out there. So stand by while I set this up. Alrighty, I am back, and I have my target set up out at 50. I think, if I remember right, I was playing around with this earlier, and I may have it dialed into 100 yards. So I may need to do a couple of clicks on the scope here to get us in line at 50 yards, but we'll see how it goes. We'll shoot a group first and see where we're at. I'm kind of expecting it might be a little bit high at 50 yards. While these guys were shooting next to me, I was just kind of playing around with it and got it somewhat zeroed in at 100 yards, and I was hitting the little 4 or 5 inch plate we got out there pretty consistently too. So but let's go ahead and take her to 50 yards. I'm just going to shoot right for the center of that splatter burst, see where that hits, and then we'll work from there. I do not know where that went. Huh. Is it shooting that high? Let's do 6 o'clock. Oh yeah. All right, let's so like I said, I didn't take the time to do a full zero on it before I started up, so all right, that ought to get us close. So this has locking turrets, very nice. All right, let's go back to 6 o'clock again. Oh, help if I close my bolt, right? All right, back to 6 o'clock. Pretty close. We'll run with that. All right. The trigger on this gun is really nice. It's not Viral inch, it's nice, but it is very nice. And that's a nice looking group. So let's fill that guy back up again. We'll put 2 on that target, and then we'll use the other 3 for patinging. So you can see how much difference the drop is from 100, well, 115, 117 back down to 50. What was that, about 6 inches of difference in trajectory there? This gun likes the CCI. Oop, I pulled that one. All right, let's see. Let's hit the gong. Oh, I'm only on 12x. What am I doing to myself here? Trying to look to make sure my camera was running. That doesn't help make the groups any better. All right, so now the gong, on the gong we have right towards the bottom, there is a black dot with a silver dot to the left, above it to the left. I'll aim at that silver dot. I think I smacked it dead on. All right, so now out to 100. That is a crisp image, holy cow. All right, so now I need to go up right about there. Should put me right in the middle of the target. Yeah. It was a little, it hit the target, but it hit low. All right, so let me see there again what I'm doing here. That was pretty good. Let me, I'm gonna load up one more mag and we'll do, I wanna see if I can hit that little 5-inch plate at 100 yards here. I think I know where I got a hold on my reticle here. So right now I have it set at 20 yards or 20 power, 20x, 20 zoomies. All right, let's see. Oh yeah. Hit a little on the left. I can watch them bolts flying down. That's a lot of fun. That was dead smack in the middle. All right. Do one more on that and then we'll bring her back to 50. Right in the middle. Wow. All right. Let me bring her back to 50. We'll do a couple more patings and then we'll get out of here. This is a magnificent scope. Nice, smooth controls. Very beautiful scope. All right, so let's call our shot. So there's a row of 3 diagonal holes or hits towards the bottom. I'm going to aim for the center one of that. Again, you got to close your bolt. I hit just above it. Okay. So now I'm going to aim for the one. So there is a, again, that same row of 3. I'm going to aim for the bottom one of the row of 3 silver hits there. It's moving, so it's, can't tell if I hit there. It looks like I may have. I'll have to review the downrange footage, but it was a good pating anyway. And that's it. So anyway, lots of fun. Magnificent scope. I really appreciate CVLife giving us some good stuff to look at. Their stuff is on par with a lot of stuff that costs a lot more money. So, it's just budget. It's even this one being a little more expensive is still budget friendly for what you get for it for sure. So, but you can find all this stuff on my Amazon storefront, and appreciate anybody who uses that Amazon link. It really helps out the channel a lot, and it goes a long way to keep us coming out here to make great content. So hope you guys liked the video. Till next time, have a great day.